First topic of the show, Trey Lance. Now, Kyle Shanahan said that the 49ers are moving forward with Trey Lance. He is a starter. Jimmy G's time is over, and he even went on to say that had Jimmy G not been hurt, he would have been traded already. But they're not cutting him because Kyle Shanahan also said this. He said, you can't just let one of the better quarterbacks in the league hit the open market and go wherever he wants. So that's why Kyle Shanahan the Niners don't want to cut him. And they want to trade him.
He chatted right there? Or?
He did chat. Because I don't even know if more than like 4 or 5 teams would want
Yeah, but you can't go into the season with Jimmy G on the roster.
You
not
can.
if Trey Lance is your guy.
You can.
But Trey Lance, he said it. Kyle Shanahan said that Trey Lance is their guy moving forward. Now that we know that, even though we already kind of assumed it, how much pressure is on Trey Lance this year to be good right away and to have not only individual but team success with the Niners? You're a big Trey Lance guy, so I want you to go first, Joel.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. I think there's 2 different pressures in the NFL, specifically for NFL quarterbacks because they have the biggest impact on winning games. The first one is to perform well and to impress the coaches, fans, ownership. And I think that's what Trey Lance is going to be fine doing. He's mobile. He has a big arm. He can make every throw as long as he's accurate. I don't think he has to be spectacularly accurate his first season. I know Garoppolo was hovering like 68, 69%. Like, that's pretty elite. He's not going to be there. But the other pressure is winning. I think the biggest difference between what Trey Lance has to do with someone like Tua or Jalen Hurts is at this point we know that they could win, right? We know Jalen Hurts can win. We know Tua can win. Can they impress us? I think Trey Lance can have to somehow be able to do both. Impress the fans, impress his own teammates, and make sure everyone gets on board, but also win because this is a team and a roster that's ready to go to an NFC Championship game, potentially a Super Bowl.
I think there's definitely the pressure that this team just went to the NFC Championship game with a quarterback that, according to what reports say, that Trey Lance should be definitely better than going into next season, right? If Trey Lance was not as good as Jimmy G, there would not be the conversation that Jimmy G is definitely not going to be the starter. He would already be traded if he wasn't injured. There's pressure because this team just accomplished a lot with a mediocre to slightly above average quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. And this was with Jimmy Garoppolo playing poor. Honestly, if I'm just going to be frank, he did not play great by any means. And this team went to the NFC Championship and was one play away to a degree. If Jaquiski Tartt catches that ball, potentially we could be looking at the Niners in the Super Bowl. Let's just be honest. But now you have Trey Lance, who has the top 3 overall pressure on him. That's already pressure in and of itself. But now you are put in a position where you need to have success with this team. There's no excuse. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. You have Kyle Shanahan, who's the QB whisperer, one of the best head coaches in the league. You have a great offensive line. You have a solid run game. There's really minimal excuse here if you're Trey Lance. I firmly believe more so in the sense of winning. 100% there's pressure to be great statistically, just with the eye test. But I think more so than anything, what he needs to prove is that he could be a winning quarterback because they just got rid of one who proved multiple times that he can be a winning quarterback.
For me, I feel like the pressure's on the winning side. Now, I think with Jimmy G, they've made it to the Super Bowl. They made it to the NFC Championship game. They've been in the playoffs. I think this team, when it's healthy, is one of the best teams in the league. It's shown that repeatedly. And with Trey Lance, like you said, individually, he's going to have that pressure. He's a number 3 pick. But I think right now, this is kind of like his rookie season because he didn't really play that much in his first year. So this is the season where it's like, yo, we got to see him, see what he's going to be. So I don't think that pressure individually, he's just going to be asked to make smart plays, be a bit of a game manager. He's not going to ask to do too much. But from the winning perspective, the pressure is there. This is a Niners team that can compete, can possibly the Rams are the best team in the division, but they can sneak it and get a playoff win. This is a team that's very dangerous. So for that, Trey Lance has to be good. And I think the pressure is going to be on the winning side. I'll get deeper into the Niners and what they got offensively, but they have a team there fit. They have a coach there fit for Trey Lance, so all the pressure is just on the winning side. The individual stuff is going to come, but he's still really young, and this is year 2 for him. So
before I get to my take on this, I've been keeping up with the Niners camp, and Trey Lance has been having a rough start to camp. It's as expected, though. He's 3 for 10 in team drills, and he had an ugly interception on Saturday or Friday's practice, one of those. He's been having a rough practice, and the word outside of a lot of 49ers beat reporters is that the reason for that is because they don't have Deebo. Deebo has not been practicing. Now, next week, they're getting into pads. This upcoming week, they're getting into pads, so we'll see how truly ready he is to, start right away. and to hopefully win games for them. But now that Debo just got extended, he got his contract, he will be in practice. So now we're going to see Lance with Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Shanahan's offense. So that's one. They're easily, Trey Lance has the most pressure on him of any quarterback in his draft class. I think pretty easily. He's the only one that got to sit his rookie season. Zach Wilson didn't. Davis Mills didn't. Justin Fields didn't.
He sat for a little bit, but he
yeah,
played.
Right.
a little bit.
Mac Jones didn't. Trevor Lawrence didn't. They all, for the most part,
Got
played
play time.
half the season or more.
Yep.
Start of the year.
Trey Lance is the only one that got to sit down, got to learn under a quarterback, and we can argue he's in the best position possible in San Fran. The only other argument is New England with Mac Jones, and even then, you look at what they're doing offensively, the pieces they lost. The 49ers are the best position out of all these teams that these young quarterbacks are in right now. Now, the reason why Trey Lance has the most pressure on him is because you look at the 49ers. They have a top 10 weapons room in football. Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Elijah Mitchell. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL in Kyle Shanahan, who's a quarterback whisperer. You look at their defense, elite defensive line, elite linebacking core. Kyle Shanahan this past week in practice said that this secondary is the deepest that it's ever been in his tenure in San Fran. We're talking about a team that's been to the NFC Championship. Kyle Shanahan said, we're moving on to Trey Lance. Jimmy G would have already been out of here had he not been injured. To pile on Jimmy G like that, I think was a bit unnecessary to make that comment.
I agree.
But now you put that much more pressure on Trey Lance because Jimmy Garoppolo, say what you want about him, but the 2 years he was healthy and started, he made a Super Bowl and was close to winning it and made an NFC Championship game. And this past year, down the stretch of the season, the second half of the season, he was amazing. Trey Lance has a lot of pressure, not only to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo, which people may scoff at that, but he's still a good NFL quarterback, so that's going to be tough to do in itself. But he has to win. And anything other than an NFC Championship appearance for the 49ers, I think, is a failed season. Because this team has Super Bowl aspirations.
It does. But I think a lot of 49ers fans are going to take him being able to consistently be good, consistently make tight window throws, throw on the run, be accurate every single week, and win one game in the playoffs. They take that. The biggest issue right now, of course, they want to go to the Super Bowl. The roster's there. But the number one thing on Niners fans, you got to make sure Trey Lance is the guy. As long as he shows that he's worth the number 3 overall pick, he could be a franchise quarterback. You could be in discussion with the top 10 quarterback. He could be in there with the Kylers, the Joe Burrows, Lamars. In that conversation, they're going to take that at least going instead of a Super Bowl. Of course, they want to get there, but number one has to be the quarterback. One thing I want to say real quick, because I think it's really important, especially for a rookie quarterback or first year starting, is where the bye week is. I know this past season, the Jets had a pretty early bye week, right? I think it was like a week 5 or something. We had a few tough opponents, but the Niners have a week 9 bye week, so right in the middle of the season. And we're going to know then a pretty good idea because they start the season off 2 easy games at Chicago versus Seattle. The next 2 games at Denver, then versus the Rams. Next 2 games on the road at Carolina, Atlanta. 2 games versus the Chiefs and at the Rams. So we're going to have 4 games against really tough opponents. All 4 of those teams, 3, they play the Rams twice, think they could go to the Super Bowl. They have elite quarterbacks. So between those first 8 games, we're going to have a really good idea of can Trey Lance play up with the rest of these guys.
Right now, the true contenders of the NFC, Tampa Bay, LA, you got to throw Green Bay in there.
No, you don't.
You don't have to. I don't disagree.
They don't
but
have
at
a
the same,
receiver room. They don't have receivers.
with Aaron Rodgers, automatically you have to give him that respect. That
And
defense
not only
is
that,
fantastic.
their
contenders?
defense,
It's fantastic.
their defense is talented. On paper, they played great last year. Their defense faced a lot of rookie quarterbacks last year and second-year quarterbacks. Their defense
No Jair.
they had a lenient schedule.
No Jair for a lot of the season. Zadarius Smith.
And he's gone,
He's
though.
gone, true. But at the same time, you're still getting a top 3, top 4 at the absolute worst.
The reason I say
cornerback
this
back.
is that, for me personally, there's only 2 contenders in the NFC: Tampa Bay and the Rams. The Green Bay Packers
San
are
Fran, you have to throw in that conversation.
The Green
though.
Bay
You
Packers.
got to wait and see until
he cut me
Trey
off
Lance
before I
plays.
could say that.
This is what I'm saying, though.
But with Jimmy G, they were a contender last season.
You
This
don't
is
know if Trey Lance could be worse
Yeah.
or better than Jimmy G.
You don't, but at the same time, you understand that they have the roster in place to do so.
But
It's
you
all
need-
on. It's all on
QB
Lance.
is important.
Oh no, for sure, King.
the most important. This is what I'm saying. the Rams in Tampa Bay, a lot of things can go wrong for them, and they can still make it to the Super Bowl. For Green Bay, everything has to go right. For San Fran, everything has to, for the most part, go right. And those other teams I have in there that they could compete, Minnesota.
I don't agree with that point with San Fran, and I don't mean it like a strong disagreement.
only one thing
but I
has
say
to
that
go right.
because not everything went right for them last postseason run, and they went to the NFC Championship game. You know, so I feel like not everything definitely has to go right for them to be a contender. Just Trey Lance has to do a job.
You're right, but the teams they faced in the playoffs were teams that
Green Bay
but Green Bay is one of those teams that everything had to go right for them to win.
last year. You
That
think
was
so?
just an outlier. Green Bay was just so bad that playoff game too.
And
the
Cowboys
weather,
too?
The weather,
The Cowboys too was
the,
another
we-
one
the
that
weather made it a
weather-
bad matchup too.
But what-
For,
Yeah,
The
but that should
Cowboys-
have favored Green Bay. Like they're the one that plays in Lambeau.
but
Cowboys
San
were-
Fran has that run game.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
they
like,
have AJ
yeah.
Dillon and Aaron Jones.
The Cowboys
As
played
well.
great all season long. The Cowboys almost won that game also, but at the same time, San Fran went in there and played great football.
That was a 50-50 matchup though. I thought,
but
like
again,
going into it,
but that's-
everybody knew San Fran was a bad matchup for them.
But let's just continue on to the point. Not everything had to go right for them to win. You understand
I
what I'm
think you're
saying?
overanalyzing what I'm saying.
No, I'm just
The Rams,
utilizing
and
the
the
facts.
Rams and Tampa Bay have a lot of leeway in terms of things that can happen to them, and they can
Easily.
still make it far.
As is San Fran.
Not really, because San
But
Fran
we just saw them go to the NFC Championship with that exact statement
and
you're
they
making.
they faced a team in the Rams that they had more wiggle room, and that's why they lost.
I mean, they were pretty damn close to winning the game also. And they beat the best team in the NFC that year. Last season, excuse me.
Record-wise.
Did you have Green Bay as the best team in the NFC?
I had the Rams personally.
Okay.
But a lot of people had the Packers
I
going to the
think-
Super Bowl.
I
You had
think-
the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
I think as of right now, Green Bay, we don't put them in that conversation anymore.
This is super hindsight.
It's not just super hindsight. It's the fact they lost Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but last year
Now.
they had Tay. Last year they had.
Yeah, I know
Tay,
they
that's what
had
I'm
Tay,
saying.
but Green Bay has shown for
If
the
you're
past.
talking about this year, I'm with you.
Green Bay has shown for the last
Last year,
three.
you can't say that.
Green Bay has shown for the last 3 seasons they don't
they don't show up in the playoffs.
they don't show up,
especially
in the
against the
biggest
Niners.
moments.
They lost twice against
But
them.
people-
And in
Yeah,
2019,
matchup for the
People
Packers.
usually haven't
2019,
gotten it.
2019 NFC Championship, what happens? They get ran all
They got-
over on.
they got
Very
shot.
next year
Niners.
versus Tom Brady, he beats them in the NFC Championship. Now this past year,
Niners
they
beat 'em
lose.
again.
Now they just
Real
lost their
phys- all
elite level
physical
wide
teams-
receiver.
All physical teams
The
can stop the
Green
run.
Bay, like the
I'm just talking about last
they
season.
are green. No, we're talking about this season. Though. Right now, this season. That's why I don't view them as that contender.
Okay,
in
I
the
don't
NFC.
disagree
Like
at
I
all.
I put Green
'Cause now
Bay in
we're
the
back
bubble
to
with a
our
lot of
initial
NFC teams. The NFC has 2 contenders: Tampa Bay, LA, the Rams.
I would throw San Fran
A
in
bunch of teams are in the bubble. San Fran's in the bubble.
I think San Fran's
Dallas
that
is
third
in the
team,
bubble.
though. San
I
Fran's
agree.
that
Green
third team.
Bay's in the bubble. Minnesota's in the
Who was
bubble.
the-
Because if Lance is good,
Philadelphia's in
they're
the bubble.
dangerous.
Can I hear
bro.
your
if Lance
teams in
is
the bubble
good,
again?
If Lance is good, San Francisco is a dangerous team. The only thing we're questioning is Trey Lance. If he could show anything what he did in college, and I like the 2 games he started. I know we have disagreements over it. I really like the 2 games I saw. He was able to make throws out of the pocket, be mobile. He's not going to be asked to do a ton. Kyle Shanahan's going to have plenty of run plays, read options for him as well to get comfortable. So if Trey Lance is good, we're just expecting him to be okay. We're not sure. If he ends up being good, we know how great
What
his
type of
ceiling
good
is.
are you talking about though?
He has to like.
He has to be better
If
than
he-
Jimmy Garoppolo.
He has to, because if he's just good, if he's
If
just
he's in that 15 to 20 range of quarterbacks.
if he's just up to maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, they're not going to the Super Bowl.
No, but he does. The
was
offense
Jimmy
is
G in the
different with
15
Trey
to,
Lance.
Was Jimmy G in the 15 to
Statistically, it's fine. Statistically, he's probably not gonna be. He's not gonna be as good as Jimmy G. Maybe
Why
he gets
not?
more like total touchdowns. Jimmy G had like a 69% completion percentage, almost 4th that. Like he had a really good year last year. I just think maybe total touchdowns
could
there
put
'cause
a,
the
he
rushing
could put
yards.
up a crazy stat
I was
line.
gonna say total yards you get passing and rushing. He'll probably be close, but he just unlocks a different part of the offense where everything becomes very explosive.